everybody, and welcome back to what is probably going to be the last ever trunk haul I will ever do on this channel, because honestly it's gone on too long. I think it's about time we let this, let it end. But this time we have a trunk haul, and it's not from Hatton's, RIP. It's from TMC, who have picked up the trunk service that Hatton's used to do. I really wish one of the retailers did the trunk system, because it's actually really helpful and really useful for those overseas modelers, especially at the current moment of filming, especially us American modelers. Because if you don't know what's currently going on, I will leave it at that. I have to mention it every single time I do a video, because, well, for reminders, basically. So what's in this trunk, it's quite a lot, and what should be in here is 3 locomotives, a couple of coaches, and some wagons, and I think a spare part for one of my kit builds. So, and that's that. So in total, it's 908 pounds total. So some information about TMC's trunk, because I think it's a little bit different from Hatton's. So for TMC, if you pre-order anything, you can have it go straight to the trunk, just immediately straight to trunk, as long as you check that option when you go to checkout. And then when it comes into stock, they'll charge you, and it'll be placed in your trunk. As long as, once again, as long as you have it checked off in the checkout when you go to checkout. And I think they can only do maximum. They can only hold it for maximum spending is like 2,000 pounds or something like that, and then they have to automatically, they'll contact you, and then they'll ship it out, whatever items you have in your trunk. And I think they can only hold it for about 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. They'll probably go double check, but I think it's 3 months, and 2,000 pounds. You got like a 2,000 pound limit. So some slight information for you in case you were curious. In terms of shipping, they do offer Royal Mail, and in this case, because once again I'm from the United States, they offer FedEx and Royal Mail, and this came through Royal Mail because I requested for 2 options basically. I wanted to see how much they were going to be. So Royal Mail, off the top of my memory, Royal Mail was like the cheapest, surprisingly, and I think it's like prepaid, duties prepaid or something like that. I think the FedEx was like 198 pounds for shipping, and then the Royal Mail was like 49 pounds. So, and once again, Royal Mail is duties prepaid, so if you're from the US and you have a trunk, they TMC like adds the tariffs on top of that. So I think the tariff, like the total tariff amount, was like 272 pounds or something like that. So, and the great news in all this is all you have to pay for is shipping. That's it. That's all you gotta do. All you do is buy your items, put them in the trunk. When you go to checkout, make sure you do that as well. And once again, for pre-orders, when you pre-order something, pre-order it to the trunk. Make sure it goes straight to the trunk if you want that option. And then when you're ready to ship it, contact them. They'll send you a invoice, or in this case a postage quote for international people like myself. And all you gotta do, much like the Hatton's ones, all you gotta do is pay for shipping, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. Very simple, fairly easy. So since this is going to be the last trunk haul video, we're gonna take a look at the majority of the stuff. I'm gonna be completely honest, because there are some kits in here, and I'll just gloss over them, just say, oh, here's some kits. That's it. So we're going to take a look at these once again by section. So we'll do coaches, wagons, locomotives, and I'll hopefully keep it brief. Fingers crossed. I'll keep it brief. I can't promise that though. But we're going to take a look at them, very brief look, hopefully, and just wrap this whole thing up. So once again, to reiterate, there should be 3 locomotives. I don't know how many coaches because I actually don't remember. There are some up here you can see, but I don't exactly remember how many coaches. But there should be a couple coaches, I think 3, maybe 4 rolling stock, and then some parkside kits and some detailing pieces for said kits. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so starting off at coaches, we got teaks. Now, some quick background on these. I originally ordered 4, or pre-ordered 4, but then I think something came up and I had to cancel. And then when I saw these were in stock, because I think these came into stock around like the summertime, I can't exactly remember. I will put an annotation up in the corner or something. But I do remember when these came into stock, there were 4. There was a brake, buffet car, and a first class, and a third class coach. As you can see, I got 3 of them. I still need to buy the third because TMC, I think they had it originally and it was sold out, and I waited and waited and waited and it just never came back into stock. So I was just, you know what, I'll settle for these and I will get a third at some point, be it from a previous run or whatever. So yeah, but speaking of previous run, I was originally going to order these a couple of years ago when these were part of, I want to say, the 2023 range. I want to say, because I do remember seeing these, and I just never got the chance to order them, because as soon as I saw they were in stock, they were gone. Like, they flew off the shelves, and this was on Hatton's. And I think that was because they haven't been in the range for a good number of years. But glad to see that they're back. And not only do they have teaks and the teak livery, they also have some blood and custard or crimson and cream, and I think they have some maroon ones as well. So stuff to cater for those modelers. Would also like to see a blue and gray one, because I do know they carried blue and gray. That being said, I don't know that much about coaches and wagons. I just know the bare minimum, so if I sound like a complete idiot, that is why. But I sound like a complete idiot anyway. So, without further ado, let's take a look. As you can see, like I've stated, 3 coaches. I've got a third, or not, this is a third, right? I think this is a third. I'll put the annotation up, but this is also a brake. This is a brake. Then we have the buffet car. Pretty nice. And then we have the first class. So, take a look at the first class one first. They're all relatively similar. But the finish on these, like, good God. it's yeah, I've wanted teaks for a very long time. And before you go and say, oh, why don't you just get the railroad ones? First of all, I hate railroad models. I absolutely loathe them. I don't have a single railroad model in my collection. I'm not kidding. I did have a Hornby Flying Scotsman, but that's now indisposed, or has been for several years now, because the bogey fell off. But but yeah, I don't have a single railroad model in my collection. I hate them with a passion. So you will never find me with a railroad model, period. And if I do end up getting one, I'm going to bash it into the ground, as it is truly deserved. But anyway, these are the premium coaches, because they got sprung buffers. That one's a little stiff. They don't have lights, unfortunately, but these are several years old. I believe these are about as old as the A4 and A3. Someone can correct me, but I was not around for that. But I'm pretty sure these were around at the same time. So, yeah. I mean, look at this finish. Like, you can't get that with paint. I mean, you can try, but you can try, and some people actually have done it. Because I think Phoenix Precision does, like, teak paint and stuff. But, I mean, for people like me who are unfortunately stuck here in this wonderful country, that's not an option. So I don't have any teak stock to paint, and if I did, I would make a right mess of it, like I always do. I'm pretty sure I felt something. So what the hell was... oh, that was the pipe. Look at the... I want to say the vestibule, because that's what it's called over here in the States, but this is a corridor gangway. Looks nice. You don't get any covers, though, in the detail pack. Getting them couplings, though. Like I said, sprung buffers. Interestingly, the buffers have, like, a collar on them. Oh, that's stuck. Okay. Alright. Yeah, those buffers are a little stiff. Interior is relatively basic. There's your numbers. I don't know if this is UV printed or not. Like the teak effect. It looks really good, as I've stated. I mean, that shit. Yeah, that looks really good. And then, like, the windows have markings on them. You have smoking. Let's see if I can zoom in. Maybe use that function. Yeah. There we go. You have smoking. And then I'm not sure. What is that? Is that round? Smoking prohibited. So I'm guessing there's smoking and non-smoking parts. But yeah, the interior is fairly basic. And then the roof detail is alright. You got some wire handrails up here. And I think this one's plastic because it bent when I touched it. No, I think it might actually be metal. And then you have some more plastic pipe work. So that's the first. Let's take a look at the buffet car, because there are some differences, some slight differences. As you can see, this window is frosted. Similar decoration. Interior is actually painted. It looks blue. How about we zoom in? There we go. The interior is blue, at least the tables do. There's the number again. Buffet car. Yeah, I think that's UV printed, because there's some slight graininess to it, so yeah. Anyway, one of the things I've noticed is all the windows, like up here, you can see, like that one, that one, that one, and that one. They're all open, and they are on the other side as well. That's something interesting. Once again, sprung buffers, tension locks. They're fitted to the body, but that's normal for these coaches. Some people don't like them. I personally don't care. For whatever reason, the bottom is oily as well. Don't know why. You don't get lights, but that's something you can do yourself. Not bad at all. Same roof detail, or similar. Yeah, not bad at all. Finally, we have the third brake, which, yet again, same thing. Not a lot of detail on here. The bogey detail is actually pretty nice, though. I think these are actually plastic, because they warp and bend. There's the gangway. And, whited out windows. Not blacked out. What am I doing? Sprung buffers, of course. So, oh, something fell off. Isn't that lovely? And it happened on camera. What are you? We'll figure out what that is later. Or I'll glue that back on, because I actually don't know what that is. I hope it's not a buffer thing, actually. Oh shit. Oh yeah, it is a buffer thing. Oh, that's lovely. Alright, well, I'll fix that. Thankfully it's an easy fix. But yeah, I wanted teaks for a while. Kinda happy that I got them. Not only do I have teaks now, I'm also got Pullmans. So, Hornby, please bring the Pullmans back. That'd be great. Absolutely great. But yeah, I got these mainly because I want them to run my LNER stuff. Well, stuff that's in like LNER livery, like my Get Built V4 and the other locomotive that we will take a look at, and also just because my railway has some teaks, but not a lot. They just have like 3 or 4, so thumbs up. Highly recommend these. I really do hope Hornby keep just punching these out every now and then instead of just taking breaks, because these are highly sought after, especially those suburban ones, which are ridiculously expensive. So also Hornby, please bring those back, but highly recommend them. So let's move on to the other set of coaches. Alright, so next up we have these Great Western coaches. So with these coaches, there are 2 different versions. There's a left-hand and a right-hand version. Not entirely sure what the reasoning for that is. I don't remember what prototype these are supposed to be. I think these are supposed to be like the bowed-ended coaches. Again, like I said earlier, my knowledge on coaches is skint. So, especially with Great Western coaches, I do know of certain versions, but this particular one from Hornby, I don't exactly know what they are. Probably should look it up. And once I do in post, I will put up an annotation right here. But yeah, so there's 2 versions. There's a left-hand and a right-hand version, and I think it depends on which end the corridor is. So for these, I got all 3 left-hand coaches for no particular reason. So we got a third here, a composite, composite, if you know, you know, and a brake third here. So like the teaks, these are premium coaches. So these have been released before, and I bought these mainly because of, as you can see, they have a much improved livery. The brown is actually brown and not that washed out green brown that it was when it first came out. But yeah, it's supposed to be chocolate and cream, not whatever the hell that color was. But yeah, like I said, sprung buffers. These buffers are very stiff, actually. Pretty decent amount of detail here on the bogies. And then turn it upside down. Pretty decent amount of underframe in detail. M couplings mounted on the body. This is the third. And let me zoom in here. There we go. Some detail. Knocked one of the coaches. Some detail on the ends here. A lot of detail, actually. Unfortunately, the corridor, the gangway isn't rubber, or that's probably a good thing. But there's a lot of separately fitted detail. And then there's a handrail on this end. There's a Great Western Hello. There's a Great Western crest. Third, the decoration is pretty nice as well. Some decoration up there as you can see. I don't know what that means. What does that say? 364? 354? I wonder if I can zoom in even further. Yes. Can't tell if that's a 6 or a 5. But the glazing is nice. Smoking and then non-smoking, as you can see. Little red borders on some of the windows. Interior is not painted. Roof detail is actually really nice. Actually, it differs on every single coach, as you can probably tell. These coaches don't weigh that much. There's some weight to them, but they don't weigh like a ton. So next, moving on to the composite. More or less the same thing. Groove detail and detail. Pretty nice. Pretty nice, of course. Sprung buffers, very stiff sprung buffers. Very stiff. Then tensional couplings, these are going to get ripped out and replaced with actual screw links, so I'm going to actually... There is a hook there. It's very tiny. Should probably use the zoom button. It's very tiny. You can barely make it up, but there's a hook there. I'm going to replace that with a Smith hook. So I'm going to rip that out, because these coaches had screw links, and the teaks are going to get replaced with Buckeye couplings, and they will also have proper hooks, so I can couple them up to other stuff. Forgot to mention that, but it is what it is. And here's the corridor. And one thing to note, if you do buy these particular coaches, like I said, there's a left hand and a right hand corridor, so I think you need to have them in a specific order. So these are all left hands. So let me find the corridor on this third, if there is one. Yeah, so there's one on left hand, which means there's one here, and then on the brake coach it should be here. So they're all on the left hand side. If you have a right hand one, it's going to be on the right hand side. So from my understanding, if you have these in like a rake, all the corridors need to be matching. So all the left hand ones need to be going on the left hand side. If you have right hand ones, they need to be going on the right hand side. That's my understanding, because I don't think you can mix and match them, even though Great Western did that quite often. There's a lot of prototypical rakes that you can make up with like varying different types of Great Western coaches. There's some that have bogies, there's some like these, there's some sunshine coaches, there's a goddamn Calestri coach in one of them. Some pictures, and some six-wheeled coaches as well. It's you can, the possibilities are endless with these Great Western coaches. Let me just reorganize this. Here we have the brake. Unfortunately, there is like a residue here. It was like a sticky kind of residue, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But once again, sprung buffers and detail. Pretty nice, of course. NEM couplings, corridor, and then the bars here on these windows on the luggage compartments. Pretty nice. There's the number. Never really pointed those out. Yeah, but the printing on those looks really good. I love this livery. This is so much better than what came before it. Yeah, 50/40. Third. 50/40, another handrail. And then there's some 332. I wonder if that's like the capacity, like it can only like hold up 32 passengers. It's I don't know. Let me see what the first one says. The first might, not the first, the composite. What am I talking about? Oh, yes. 1 and then 3 to 24. So I wonder if that's like capacity for how many passengers you can cram into these coaches in real life, because they're all varying in numbers. Someone can probably tell me that. Yeah, that's the coaches. Detail packs, you don't really get much in terms of these. You get these little like destination boards that you can put like on the sides. There's like little marks, these things here. Put those there with whatever destination you want. And then unlike the teaks, you get like corridor ends. And then I forgot to mention as well, all the premium coaches come with these European style alternative couplings. But like I said, my own alternative couplings will be screw links for these, and then KDs for the teaks. Right, so also I want to mention that I also got some Akira Scale Mark 1s, the maroon ones that I mentioned a long time ago, and I'm not gonna take those out, and we're not gonna look at them, to be honest, because there's really no point, because I'll just be repeating myself for those coaches, but they're really good, and I highly recommend them. They have lights, they have bearings, unlike these, which are some years old. I think these Cullet coaches are from like 2015 or something, and the Teaks are even older than that. But the only Hornby coaches I know that have lights are the Pullmans, and as I stated, I would really like to see those return. But yeah, highly recommend them. Highly recommend these coaches. They are a bit expensive, unfortunately, but I mean, it is what it is, especially the Teaks. The Teaks are definitely more expensive, especially secondhand. But I highly recommend them. And next we will move on to the wagons. Alright, next we have some wagons. We got 4 here, technically 5, 6 actually. But really 4 ready to runs and 2 Parkside kits, which I will get into later in the video. So we'll start off with the newest one first, which is this Bachmann 20-ton LMS brake van. So this is a new thing. It came out, I want to say, around November time, December, early December, somewhere around there. Again, put an annotation, but this is the new one, and it's more or less the same diagram that the Hornby one is. The caveat here is that this has metal handrails, and that's it. And it's also more expensive, but the Hornby one has plastic handrails, and you'll see in the 9F video, when, if I ever get around to editing that, it's running, one of the trains is running around with the Hornby 20-ton brake van, and one of the handrails is missing. And I didn't notice until after I finished that video. So yeah, I mean, that handrail has since been replaced, but those handrails are plastic. These are proper metal, but it is a decent little brake van. As you can see, like all the rivet detail. Unfortunately, there is molded detail, which is not the handrails, the lamp irons on the ends here, like here, and these two down here. Unfortunately, those are molded, but that is what it is. Some detail down there, date oiled, builder's plate, number. Doesn't weigh that much, really. I think it's probably on par with the Hornby one. Just the underframe detail. I don't think the wheels are in bearings. I know Bachmann started doing that with the PAL van. It's got M couplings, though. And more importantly, it's got screw link couplings as well. Which reminds me, detail pack wise, blam. You do get extra bits of brake rigging. You get some extra bits for the, not the vestibule, that's not what it's called, the end, I'll just call it that. And then you get some vacuum pipes and screw link couplings down there. I think they're just the slot in type. But that's this brake van. It's also very expensive. It's like 30-something quid. Actually, it's probably even more than that. It's close to 40. I also think it has an interior, which is really pointless on a brake van because you're not going to see it anyway. But that's just me. Next up, we have the Monsel cattle wagon from Hornby. This is a new thing, once again. This was part of the 2025 range. It's really, actually, relatively decently priced. But, yeah, the 2025 range, in my opinion, is a bit of an enigma, because some of the prices are a bit questionable, and I mean questionable in a good way. We'll get into that probably later, if I remember. But this is pretty decent. It's also very light. And the buffers, unfortunately, aren't sprung, but they are made of metal. Some writing on the end. I don't know if these bits are metal, or if they're like a part of the molding. They better not be plastic. Vacuum brake. underframe detail, which I personally think is pointless, but it's there, so cool. Thanks. I put up the price for these. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head how much this one was, but it wasn't too expensive. Next we have two Bachmann wagons. This is a Great Western Fruit van. This I actually do remember the price of. Put it up here. But this was a relatively recently released thing. It's about a year old, but it's not new tooling. It's ancient tooling. It's not ancient, but it's slightly older tooling. It's alright for a Bachmann wagon. Doesn't, once again, not a lot. None of these wagons weigh all that much, which is probably the good thing. Underframe detail, which it surprisingly has. Hit again. Pretty nice. And then finally, I was watching that fruit van. Finally, we have this plywood 12-ton vent van. I quite like these. I don't know why. I just like vans with a bit of variation in them. I am currently attempting to build up a rake of bauxite vans of varying backgrounds, like this, and then the Parkside kits we'll look at later. And I've got some LNER bauxite wagons. I think I got an LMS bauxite wagon, some more normal 12-ton bauxite vans from Bachmann, and yeah, it's slightly inspired by the Great Central and that stuff. And this is a pretty old wagon. I don't exactly know how old it is, but it's been around for a while. But it's not ancient, which is probably a good thing. The box is all beat up and smashed up, so it is what it is. And speaking of boxes, I actually completely forgot to mention for the brake fan, despite it being a brand new model, the box is all smashed up. So I don't know if it got damaged in transit, because I don't think it should have, because there was nothing on top of it when I opened it up. But yeah, I'll put up the video. It should be running while I'm rambling. But I mean, it was completely smashed. Not completely, but it smashed enough. And the GWR van, both of them came in the usual paper packaging that Bachmann like to do. So you know it's new when it has like the paper on the box. But yeah, I don't know what happened to that, but the box was all smashed up. So that was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, both of these are relatively new. And then these two have smashed boxes. But I think this box was smashed because of the previous owner. That's just my theory, because it was kind of already like that. And then next up we have some Parkside kits. I personally like building these, and one of them is another plywood van. And the reason for it, because I know they're going to be that one person, why didn't I just get another Bachmann one? One, because I couldn't find one on TMC's website. I actually looked, and that was the only one that showed up. And two, because I want to. Okay, there doesn't need to be any other reason. But these are relatively fun to build. I actually quite like building Parkside kits. I've built like 40 of them, I think, in the last 4 or 5 years. And yeah, I actually quite like building these. So this is one. This is another plywood 12-ton vent van. You can do a bunch of customizing with these as well. You don't actually have to build them as they come. You can if you want, but talk about the other one, which is a fruit van. Now, I don't think this is ready to run. No, ready to run manufacturer mixes is what I meant to say. I don't think this is ready to run model. So I just saw it and I was like, oh, I want to build a fruit van, and I did. And it's apparently a vanilla design. So let me get that now, because I've already kind of gotten into it, and yeah, it is. And unfortunately, it's got some texture, and that looks really bad on camera. But I don't know what the issue with this is. This is like the third Parkside wagon I've bought that has this issue. I do scrub these before I do anything, so maybe I don't know. Maybe that's part of the reason. I don't know, but I'll tag this off in another video. But here's the roof. I like to paint them separately, because some people will actually, it doesn't really matter how you build them, but some people like to build the whole thing and then paint it. I like to just, in terms of vans, I like to just paint the roof separate and then build everything and then paint it all separately. Still need to do the chassis. And then in terms of, let me zoom in. In terms of customization, I've got Acura scale sprung buffers, which I'm now low on, which is not a good thing because, you know, tariffs and all that BS. So once I run through my stock, I'm pretty much out, and I am screwed after that because I don't think they ship them anymore to, you know, over the United States. But Parkside, sometimes you can customize these. You can customize these however you want. So the couplings, of course, are Instator couplings. The Instator couplings are actually from Smith's with the dart casting hook that I've drilled out a hole for. And then the vacuum pipe, which you don't get for whatever reason. With most of these BR vans, you don't get vacuum pipes. I don't know why. You don't even get the option. There's only one Parkside wagon I bought that gives you an option. It's like a Great Western Mogo van, I think. But yeah, these are, once again, from Dart Castings, right? Yes, because I do have several. And then inside, some liquid gravity, because you don't get any weight, and I'm pretty sure if I tip this over, it's just going to all spill out, because I actually have glued it in, but it somehow managed to loosen itself. So I still need to paint the chassis, which I will do eventually. The wheels are painted, and then I also added some underframe brake rigging just because I wanted to. I usually don't do this, but I only started recently doing this. So that was all made with brass wire, because you don't get any wire with the kit. So I do apologize for how it looks, because that wasn't the intention. The roof is also just as bad. So like I said, this is going to get its own separate video, which may or may not be up by the time this video is. But yeah, these are quite fun to build. They don't take that long. They don't take that long, at least not to me, because I've built quite a number of these Parkside kits over the years. I can usually get these finished, not finished, but like assembled in about like half an hour, give an hour, maybe. Not counting like cleanup and stuff like filing down stuff, flash drilling stuff out, not counting that. But assembly usually doesn't take that long. I can get it done in about like half an hour, sometimes an hour, depends on what it is. But I highly recommend these Parkside kits if you actually want to have a crack at kit building, because it actually is quite fun. There's some open wagons, there's vans, there's tankers. There's 2 tankers. I built both of them. Those are really fun. I actually like those. And some flat wagons. I haven't built those mostly because most of the flat wagons are available ready to run, and I don't really particularly need to. But yeah, that's the wagons. Like I said, this Parkside wagon is getting its own offshoot video because of the issues I've been having with it. But yeah, so that's it for wagons. Now let's move on to locomotives, and that'll probably be the end of this video. Alright, so our first locomotive is the Hornby M7. I mean the J15, Y14, same thing. So this is the preserved one. Surprising announcement, to be honest, because I was not expecting Hornby to make this. They have made the J15 in the past, but it was only the LNER and the BR versions. That was like way back in 2015. This was like part of the 2014 range. But I remember this being announced. That's how old I am. And they just never did this particular one. I guess it kind of counts as regrouping because the preserved one is in this livery, and this is the preserved locomotive. However, there are some things that we need to discuss, and it's not entirely correct. It is a preserved locomotive, but it's not entirely accurate. So, we'll discuss that later, but it is a beautiful, 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 beautiful little work of art. This thing is. I already have a J15, but it is the BR black one with the red rods, and I only got that as like a stopgap for originally with the intention to turn it into this. However, I'm going to be getting rid of that because now this one exists. So, but yeah, this thing is absolutely beautiful. You have the little Great Eastern crest here. Hopefully the phone camera will pick it up. But the tamper printing is amazing. I'll probably will just take a picture of that. You got sprung buffers. No screw link couplings, unfortunately. You do have vacuum pipes, but they're in the detail bag. Smoke box. Chimney. We'll talk about that later. Westinghouse pump. Look, I mean, this thing, it's so beautiful. It is really beautiful. And look at the shine. Like the finish. Really nice. This isn't Hornby from like 10 years ago. That cab is a disgusting color, but yeah, looks really good. There is no firebox glow because it predates that whole tech, but there are gauges on there are dials and needles on the gauges, if you can see. Glazing is really nice as well. But yeah, that I hate that color. That is disgusting. Really nice little model. Also, it's die-cast. The whole thing is die-cast, apart from the tender. The only quality problem I can find, I don't know if you can see it, but is the handrail. It's bent, as you can see. So I don't know what to do about that. But that is the only quality problem I could find with the locomotive. While we're zoomed in, we can take a look at the tender as well, which is equally nice and is equally wrong. But yeah, sprung buffers. No tension lock on the locomotive, but you do get it on the tender. Guard irons pre-fitted. Great Eastern Railway. And this really, really attractive blue. I don't know if this is this ultramarine blue? Is that what it's called? I believe so. But it is really nice. I really do like this livery, and I may or may not paint my Rapido 16-inch Hunslet in this livery. Actually, I already did. So that's how much I like it. It's a really nice looking blue, a really nice looking livery, except for that. Except for this. I don't like that. That is a disgusting color. I don't know why they thought. I don't know. Coal load is removable. I'm not going to take it out because it's a pain to. You know what? We're going to do this live. We're going to do it live on camera while it's zoomed in. There we go. Coal load. Removable. And now I'm going to have a hard time getting that back in. But removable coal load. There. Right, now let's get into the inaccuracies. So this is as preserved. It is a model of the original locomotive, 564, on the North Norfolk Railway, which I believe is undergoing an overhaul right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I last saw it saying it got taken out of service because it needed an overhaul, or it failed a steam test and it needs an overhaul, and it's due to get one anyway. But apparently this is not correct. It's in the right livery, but the configuration is wrong. So look, starting off with the locomotive, the chimney apparently is too tall. I can kind of see that, because I think it's supposed to be, it's the correct chimney. It's a stovepipe chimney, whereas Hornby's previous J15s, and I'm going to keep calling it a J15 because that's what it is. It's a by 14. It's the same damn thing, guys. But if you get butthurt about it, too bad. But this is I'm going to keep calling it a J14 simply for my own sanity. But the first couple runs of Hornby's J15s had a different style of chimney. This is the stovepipe chimney, which the preserved one does have. It originally carried the other one as well before it was repainted into this really attractive livery. I really like this livery. Please, more Great Eastern locomotives and double cage, please. please a Claude Hamilton as well. Proper one, not the butchered Grizzly one. Well, Grizzly didn't butcher them. They actually look really nice. Anyway, apparently the chimney's wrong. I also heard a rumor the smoke box door is wrong. Or I could be thinking of Mayflower, where that was right, except for the smoke box door. But I believe the chimney and the smoke box door, chimney's too tall, smoke box door is wrong. Everything else is fine on the locomotive. The tender shouldn't have these raves here. Those should be completely removed, because the real one doesn't have those anymore. It did at one point, but now it doesn't. But it doesn't detract too bad from the model, too much anyways. It doesn't detract too much from the model, at least in my opinion. If you can overlook that, if you're not like a extreme purist, then sure, go ahead. It's fine. Would I have liked a proper, accurate one? Possibly. But also, apparently, I did hear as well that the owning group of the locomotive reached out to Hornby when this was announced, and Hornby declined to visit. Take that with a grain of salt, but that's just what I heard. So, we have accurate but inaccurate J15. So, this was announced as part of the 2025 range. There was actually 2 J15s, and only one of these came out. The other one was a black one with British Railways on the tender, and that one was cancelled. I have a sneaky suspicion it's because the last time Hornby made J15s, they stuck around for a while, and they didn't sell, and they stuck around, and most of them ended up in the bargain. And that's actually how I got my red rod BR version, because I got that for £60 from Kerno way back in the days of COVID. But yeah, that was canceled. And then the S15 that was announced, that also got canceled. And I'm really sad about that, because I actually like the livery on that S15. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring it back. I don't know. But one of the things, apart from the livery, one of the really attractive things apart from the livery, was the price. This was 125 quid. That was it. It was 125 quid. I don't know what the RRP. I think the RRP actually is 125 quid. It's not that expensive compared to, something else we're going to be looking at later on the line. And also some stuff we've looked at previously on this channel, and also other Hornby locomotives out there that are ludicrously expensive and are way overpriced. But that's not that bad for a little 060 that's made a die cast. That's well over 10 years old now. Not that bad. Beautiful runner as well. Smooth, quiet. Can highly recommend it. As for detailing pack, you get your NEM coupling for the front and vacuum pipes and your brake rigging. And then you get your fake etched plates. And I say they're fake because they are fake. They are not etched. They're just printed pieces of plastic that Hornby keep putting in these things, not knowing what etch plates actually are. The only time I've seen an etch plate on a Hornby locomotive was with Mayflower. We'll leave it at that. But that's what you get with this particular model. Highly recommend it. I'm pretty sure it's sold out already by the time this video goes up, but yeah, it was on my must-buy list for 2025. So, with that being said, let's take a look at the next locomotive. Alright, so sticking with something still in the eastern region, pretty much all of these locomotives are LNER locomotives, to be completely honest. But yeah, so going from small to something a little bit bigger, we have a Thompson L1, once again by Hornby, and also once again, these are all Hornby locomotives, so pretty decent model. It's been around for quite some time. I think 2011, I want to say. Can't exactly remember the exact date, but I do remember seeing these. And this is the most recent iteration. Pretty nice. It actually came in one piece, which is rather surprising, because, at least in my experience, almost every single one of these I've seen has had some form of damage. I don't know what it is with this particular model. I don't know if Hornby's actually upped their quality, but there is virtually nothing wrong with it. Everything is where it should be. Nothing has dropped off, nothing is loose, especially these little lamps, because those are definitely prone to breakage. The pony, it is what it is. Apparently, they've fixed this, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, let's just give you a quick 360 without breaking something off this model. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Really nice. It's actually kind of light holding it. I think it's lighter than the Stanier tank, which, by the way, Hornby, please bring that back. But yeah, it's pretty light. And I think, like the Stanier tank, the decoder is in the bunker. Maybe. I'll take a look at that. But yeah, this is unfortunately 90% plastic. The only remaining 10% is the die-cast chassis. But yeah, detail on it is really nice, apart from, you know, it being made of plastic. There's the builder's plate. You can just zoom in here. Here's the builder's plate. All the pipe work. Little electric lights. And then the, I want to say these are like bracket holders for destination boards. And more electric lights, rivets, handrails, really crisp text. Safety valve and whistle. These are metal, the whistle is not. You got posable roof vents in the cab, which is nice. Bar pipe work on under there. And then turning it to the other side reveals more or less the same. You have the Westinghouse air pump here, along with the dynamo for the electric lights. And then you have route availability 7. And then the number. Electric lights here on the rear, along with a ladder. I believe that is plastic as well, unfortunately. Some more destination bracket holders. Of course, spring buffers, front and rear. But yeah, like I said, surprisingly in one piece. These I personally have dubbed the most fragile model Hornby have ever produced because, like I said, I've seen many of these broken with some form of damage one way or another, and this particular one seems fine. I'm actually very surprised it survived its transatlantic journey. But it is a really nice looking locomotive. It's a nice looking little tank locomotive. As for tooling variation, I believe they did something with the cab. There's one that has like a door, like an actual door in the cab. And then the running plate is a different style. It's more of like the peppercorn style rather than this. But yeah, pretty light. I do wish it was a little bit heavier. If they were to upgrade something, I kind of wish they, upgraded it to a diecast running board, not diecast chassis. It has a diecast chassis. What am I talking about? Speaking of chassis, let's just turn it over. So apparently they fixed the pony. Let's just turn it over. So this, along with a lot of other Hornby models, has bogie pickups. I personally do not like bogie pickups. I understand why they're here, but I don't like them, and it's just more stuff that gets damaged or broken off. But that effectively means all-wheel pickup, apart from the pony, which I want to talk about once again. So apparently one of the issues with the original run of this, because this has been around since 2011, the original run is prone to derailing. So allegedly, so I've heard, on this recent run, they may or may not have fixed the pony. I mean, I can't comment on that because I don't have a layout, and I just can't be bothered with the temporary layout at the moment. So yeah, I hope it doesn't give me any trouble. I hope it gives me trouble-free running, but it runs fine on the rolling road, so I'll give it that. Really smooth, really quiet. Just, wish it was a little bit heavier because the stand tank is heavier than that, and that is also entirely made of plastic. Yeah. So I got this for, I believe, 78 pounds because this was on sale. And it wasn't just at TMC. I think Rails was doing a sale on these as well. But I waited and picked one of these up. Now, I believe the RRP is something ludicrous. I can't remember off the top of my head what the RRP is, but it's something stupid because it's Hornby. Unlike the J15 we just looked at, where that's relatively reasonable. And the next locomotive we're going to look at, which is absolutely bonkers. But 78 pounds is not that bad. That's actually kind of what the pre-owned ones go for anyway. Is usually around 60, 70, sometimes 90. But not a bad price for what is effectively a brand new model. And once again, before I move on to the next locomotive, the final locomotive, here's the detailing pack. It's somewhat extensive. You get steam pipes, steps, cylinder drain cocks, cooling coupling, tension lock, and brake rigging, and a vacuum pipe. All of this is plastic. I do wish the steps were made out of metal though, because yeah. Anyway, on to the final locomotive. Alright, so lastly we have the largest locomotive that I've got in this trunk, and that is Hornby's A22, and it looks a lot different than when we last saw it, huh? So, if you aren't aware, when these first came out, these had horrible quality problems. But even worse, at least in my opinion, it didn't look great. And by that I mean the liveries were washed out on both this and the A23. So, Hornby actually have vastly improved. As you can see, the livery looks so much better, and I think it suits the model, makes the model a little bit more worth it. Unfortunately, the price tag is ridiculous, of course, but I believe it's 254 pounds, thereabouts. And then like retail prices around 220 into 220s, I believe. I'm going to have to put an annotation, but I didn't get it for that. I got this for 170, no, not 170, 150 pounds in 150, so I think it was like 154. Because, once again, this was on sale. This was discounted, but originally the A23 that was announced alongside this, I can't remember the actual name of it, but it was an LNR livery. That was originally discounted, first with Rails, because Rails discounted it at first. I don't remember the exact price, but it definitely wasn't 200 pounds. It was like around, how much was it? I think it was like around 150, 170, somewhere around there. It's been quite a while. I actually don't remember, but I do know that it was discounted. Originally, once again, Rails the A23 that was announced alongside this. So I patiently waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and eventually this ended up on sale through TMC. So snapped that up because I was looking forward to getting this particular model, because I actually wanted an A22, because I prefer the A22. It's probably one of my more preferable Thompson Pacifics out of all four of them. Yes, there's four. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about this one that I don't know. I just like, maybe because it looks weird. compared to all the other ones. And yeah, so I'll just move the tender out of the way. Take a look at the locomotive. So first of all, I can actually touch this, which unlike my H23, I'm terrified of touching because for whatever reason the quality on that is deplorable, and every time I pick it up it feels like it's gonna fall apart in my hands. The running board creaks and bends, and it's a bad time. But with this, I can actually hold it and touch it and not have to worry about it. So win-win. Unfortunately, it's still plastic, but it, like I said, I can pick it up and move it around and touch it, and I'm not scared of it falling apart, unlike my H23. So this one is Earl Marischal. I think that's how you pronounce it, Marischal. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. But these engines had weird names, like, I don't know, Mons Meg and Wolf of that, and Thane of Fife and Cock of the North and Lord President. But yeah. No etched plates, because like I said, Hornby don't know what those are, so you don't get etched plates with this particular model. There's a number, and then the shed code. Sprung buffers. No screw-link coupling, unfortunately. I would say I don't care that the front doesn't have an M pocket, because I don't use them anyway, but some people will care about that. But the quality on this is actually vastly superior to the A23 and the first run of these. As you can see, the livery, first of all, as I've stated, the livery is a hell of a lot better than the first run. Hornby have improved. They've done like a 180 in like the last 3 years, because now the BR and Great Western Greens liveries that they've historically never got right within the last 20 years, they suddenly look great. They look accurate, on par with Bachmann's, some would say. So I don't know what happened. Maybe that was all we needed, was to complain about the livery some more for Hornby to turn it around eventually. But it's vastly superior to the original run. Unfortunately, that mold seam line is still present, and it looks just as bad, as you can see. Yeah. Focus. Yeah, that looks terrible. Yeah. Cab detail. No firebox glow, thankfully, but I believe the new one, the one that's going to have that stupid steam generator thing, I've heard that's going to have a die-cast running board, because actually at the moment of filming it's on the boat over to the UK. So if you've gotten that model, let me know if it actually does have a die-cast running board. I highly doubt it does, but I also do know that and the new A2 that's coming along, A23 that's coming along with it, is going to have the new plug-and-play tender connection, which has been a bit of a hit and miss lately, because some people have had problems and others have not. And then there's the chimney with the rather interesting little deflectors at the top. Another reason why I like this locomotive, it kind of, I don't know, people say these are ugly. I personally don't think so. Ungainly, yes. If you want ugly, that's the Q1. That thing is ugh. Thing gives me the ick, but that is ugly. This, I don't think so. I don't think it's ugly. It looks weird, but it's not ugly. I don't know what to describe it. It's definitely not ugly. It's just weird and ungainly, yes, because this whole front end doesn't look right. It looks like they stretched it out, whereas like on the Peppercorn Pacifics, which those are developments of these, the whole front end is like slightly pushed back and more conventional, more proportionate, so to speak. But I don't think these are ugly. I think they're quite interesting. They're weird, yes, but rather interesting, not ugly. But like the saying goes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So in terms of like tooling variation, I think this is the only one that they've done, because there are some differences between this and the as-built A22s. So originally, These were first. If you don't know, these are the A22s are the peppercorn. Yes, the A22s are the P2 rebuilds. So all 6 P2s got rebuilt into this. And then there's the A21, which is the V2 rebuilds. We don't talk about those. And then the A23 is kind of its own thing. And then there's the A11, which we don't talk about because it is very controversial. But I would really like to see Hornby make a model of that. I'm actually hoping they make a model of that, because I would love, as much as I don't like that locomotive, I would love to see it in model form, and I definitely would get it, especially since it's blue. But we'll leave it at that. But when these were first built, the boilers were different. These aren't the same boilers, and the cab is also different. It has they had the V-shaped cab, which, as you can see, this does not have. And the boiler is, I believe, a peppercorn boiler, because if again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these were interchangeable. They just swapped them out with the boilers from Peppercorn Specifics. So that's what this is. I think that would require a slight change in tooling, whether or not Hornby have actually bothered to tool that up, because that's also why we haven't seen these in LNER livery yet. Would be nice, but I think that would require a tooling change. But I mean, that's not the first time. But I would like to see it in LNER livery. But if we did get an LNER livery, take note of that. That's why we haven't seen it yet. So, also the cab has posable roof vents. Huzzah. And the safety valves. Hello. The safety valves are metal. The whistle is plastic. The valve gear is actually really beautifully depicted, and it's probably Hornby have also improved in this area, but other locomotives as well. So, like I said, no edge plate, because Hornby don't know what edge plates are, but I will probably get some Fox transfers plates to fit over that. The chimney, there's a stovepipe version, and then this is the lipped version. So they have also done that as well. Livery is accurate. Oop. And then the builder's plate, which is there. Actually, I think that is the original P2's build plate. Let's see. Yep, 1934. That is interesting. I did not notice that. That was actually really interesting. I don't know. They had the same. They retained the same builder's plates when they were rebuilt. I would actually like to know. But the smoke deflectors, yes, the wind deflectors in the cab, those are actually present, because normally those are the first things to go. It's actually pretty heavy. I think this is heavier than my A23, although I think the A23 might be heavier, because this is like 455 grams. And I haven't weighed my A23, because I am scared to touch it, because it is so bad quality-wise, and it feels like it's going to break in my hands. Every time I pick up the running board, it creaks and groans, and it bends, and I don't like that. Whereas with this, I can pick it up. So here's the tender. It's your fairly bog standard LNER 5,000 gallon group standard tender. Literally nothing different about it. It's got tender pickups as well. Strong buffers. No electric lights, because those were implemented on the A23s, I think, or maybe the A21s. Also would like to see the A21s. You might as well round out the whole trio with that Hornby. You got the A22, the A23. You might as well make the A21, and also while you're at it, make the Great Northern rebuild as well. Really like to see that, because you know, the whole experimental one-off locomotive trend Hornby has been going on for like the last 5 years or so. I would really like to see that. Also the Great Bear. Cold load is removable. I can't get into it, but it is removable. There we go. I think it was held in with like tape originally. Yeah, we'll worry about it later. Actually, you know what? Screw it. But yeah, light crust. Once again, nice livery application. Vastly improved livery application. Nose grilling couplings, vacuum pipe fitted. So, there we go. And as for the detailing pack, it's very sparse. This is all you get. You get a bang plate, cylinder drain cocks, which don't look in that horrible red copper paint that the A21 was. No, not the A21, the A23, please. I wish they made an A21. And also, you get a flanged wheel set, which you didn't get originally. And also some steps. So, I believe that's it. Runs well. Runs amazing, of course. It's heavy. As I've stated, 455 grams. Runs pretty well. But I think that's it. That's all I want to talk about with this particular locomotive. I would recommend it if they released more of them, and also if they were on sale. Don't get... I would highly advise not getting the first run because of how atrocious the quality on them was. But if you do see them for a decent price, sure, pick one up. Why not? Treat yourself. But yeah, like I said, the A23 that was announced alongside this one, that went on sale first, and I think that sold out because it was on sale. And then, at least with TMC, they put this one on sale. Rails didn't put this on sale, but I've been watching and waiting, and jumped at the opportunity because, once again, I like the A22 over all the other Thompson Pacifics. It just looks a little bit interesting. But yeah, that's it for this trunk video. Thank you for watching. This will be the last trunk video I ever do because honestly, I shouldn't be doing this. There really is like no point, but I do it anyway, simply because I want to. But I have actually grown kind of tired of doing these sort of videos, so I hope this is shorter than all the other ones. If not, I do apologize. But yeah, this is the last one. No more after this. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.